The good girl doesn't have friends. She lives in a fantasy. The following are the relationships that the good girl has, which she calls friendship, but they're not. Number one, the people that she has to fix. They're strugglers, people with low awareness that the good girl is always available to heal and to fix. Second, users and leeches. These are the people that the good girl at first is enamored by, who later, with many rude awakenings, she calls them narcissists. Third, avoiders who do fun things with the good girl. Going on trips, going out to eat, going to a movie, going shopping together. These are people who have the same addictions as the good girl. Under the same category would be the fourth group, the complainers and whiners. The good girl gets together with these people to talk about their recurring problem. Family of origin problem, another toxic friend, another toxic betrayal, bad love life situation, one-upping each other in their struggle, and of course interpersonal problems at the workplace, overall unfulfillment, spending hours over wine discussing their existential crisis, a constant hamster wheel of conversation that feel good in the moment, but it's a culprit that drives her and keeps her in the downward spiral. Do you have a hard time putting up boundaries and maintaining them with friends or family? I'm going to share with you exactly why. Some of you have a harder time with friends and some of you have a harder time with family. For those of you who have a harder time with friends, your family has been a write-off from the beginning. They were never there for you. You were probably the scapegoat. You were the wrong one, the bad one. You were never enough for them in the first place. So from a very early age, you turned to peers. You were very peer-driven. Your friends were everything. They were your first sense of connection, and many of you had a group of friends who had the same situation with disconnected family, and this little group was like family for you. The desire for connection is a human need, and whatever was worked in our favor, meaning whatever has helped you find connection, your mind and your emotions will cling on to. If your family was so chaotic, toxic, and abusive, and you had found groups of friends, even strangers, as your sustenance, and that has been your pattern, you have a much harder time putting in boundaries with friends. For those of you who have a much harder time with family, you were often the torchbearer. You could have been the golden child in the family, or even though you had a dysfunctional family, they were still there. You had a sense of connection with them. You were also taught culturally that family is everything. So that brainwashing goes long ways. Some of you were the only successful ones in the family, and being accomplished has given you a level of status with them. Because of the combination of circumstances, you have a hard time putting up boundaries with them. You were able to get some sense of connection through them. Even when they're being leechy, disrespectful, and toxic, you have a really hard time doing the right thing for yourself. Spiritual growth is overcoming beyond what the wounded version of you wants to hold on to, and instead showing up as the adult, emotionally mature version of you to make decisions that serve you and uplift you. When you don't understand what healthy relationship looks and feels like, you can't expect that, which means you cannot choose what's going to give you healthy reciprocity. To have a mature, healthy relationship, you have to know what to expect and what's out of line. The logical mind and the emotional mind do not cross over together, which means just because you understand something cognitively doesn't mean that you're emotionally driven to make the decisions that are congruent with the thought. You can know that a man is not good for you. You can see all the red flags, but the emotions that want you to accept this person because you enjoy the exciting aspects of this relationship will lead you to ignore all the red flags, justify, reason with yourself why they're okay. Fear and excitement create similar physiological changes in your body. When you grow up in a chaotic, unsafe environment, you are used to fear responses in your body. That becomes your familiar standard, which you carry over to other relationships, in your friendships, and of course in intimacy too. When you're in a relationship with somebody healthy, you feel uncomfortable with that person. You think they're boring. You think there's something off with that person because they do not generate the fear response that you're used to in relationships. The fear that you have misinterpreted as excitement. So you will leave that person behind in search of people who are more exciting, aka the people that you call narcissists. Love does exist, but with terms and conditions. We live in a world where parent-child relationship, which is supposed to be the purest form of love, is completely conditional. Don't believe me? Look at your childhood. Why do you think your parents were bad parents? Because they were conditional. Then you're expecting strangers who don't share any of that strong, formative, beyond physical but spiritual bond that a parent-child relationship carries. You're expecting strangers to love you without many conditions at all. It's 100% conditional, and you are conditional too, only if you were to be self-aware. You love your friends and you love your family to a certain extent. If you think there is no limit, you haven't been pushed enough to see A, their true faces, and B, your true feelings about how you really feel in these relationships. The moment we question the concept of love, the good girl feels unsafe. The truth is that safety and certainty in any relationship has been an illusion all along. When in Rome, do as the Romans do. When you live in capitalism, which is every single one of us, the moment we're born, we don't get a choice. You gotta do relationships that follow the rules of capitalism. That means every relationship has to be transactional. When you invest time, energy, money, you have to get something in return. It helps you grow, helps you elevate and gain more privilege. A friend connotates that there should be no strings attached. Only good girls care about friendships because they're the only ones who didn't get to note that in capitalism, other people are looking to gain through relationships. She's here giving endlessly, thinking that she's gonna get something back when she continues to be good. That's the oppressed mindset. Get rid of the notion of wanting friendships and instead focus on having good allies. An ally is emotionally mature and wise. They are reciprocal. They know that when they give something, that you give something too, and vice versa. They're competent, accomplished, and your goals complement each other. Would you invest in a group of people who are more elite but jealous of you, or a normal group of people who are apathetic to you or your work purposes? Question. What's the point? You call it an investment, but it hardly sounds like that. An investment is when you put in time, energy, effort, money, resources, you experience growth and you get heaps back. When somebody is jealous of you, it doesn't matter how good of a network they have, how much money they have, or what they could potentially offer you. If they're jealous of you, they absolutely hate you. Being friends with these people means that you're allowing the enemy into your space and giving them access to your vulnerabilities. The second group of people are apathetic to you for your work purposes. So what the hell is the point of these people? They're incompetent and they don't give a shit about you. What this says to me is what most people suffer from. Loneliness, that they were desperately to cling on to any life thing that's moving. You are a generator. You are a creator. If you put shit ingredients while following the best recipe, you get shit food. If you invest in shitty people, you get a shit life. Friendships suck. Allyship is excellent. In order to qualify as an ally, they need to be competent in capitalism. They need to have their shit together and be mature, because allyship already denotes that there is transactional relationship that is reciprocal. That means nobody's gonna be in that relationship and not get what they deserve. Both parties are going to get relatively equal give and get. When you're mature and wise, you're comfortable with that. In fact, you desire that. That's a sign of having healthy boundaries and a healthy sense of self-worth. In order to have true allyship, both people need to ask this question. What am I getting out of this relationship? Here are my leverages in capitalism. Here's my value. Here are my strengths. The other party also recognizes what's highly covetable. Intelligence, insight, experience, expertise in an industry. You have that in one area, your ally has in other. In capitalism, if you're by yourself, you fail. Just think about the animal world and jungle. We need to have collaboration, and that's what allyship is about, is true collaboration. Whereas these friends that you've been protecting and giving to in the past, they're like a bunch of babies who just need your help. These allies are fully mature and grown adults who have goals, who know their value and have self-respect, and therefore they respect you.